What's up, everyone? My name is Abby. I like to read, and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I finished in the month of January. So I had a very good reading month in January. I ended up finishing 11 books, and I did DNF one. I did also add, I think, one, maybe two books that I didn't plan to read on my January TBR, but I just couldn't resist, so I read it. So yeah, let's get started with all the books that I read. I'm going to start with the audiobooks I listened to. And so the first three books are books 5 through 7 in the Shattered Kingdom series by Angelina J. Steffert. The fifth book in this series is called Secret Courts, and I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I'm not gonna lie, this was like a whole ass month ago, and I read a lot of books, so I don't remember exactly what happened, but I gave it 4 stars, and I wrote a couple of notes here. So apparently, according to my notes, this fifth book was a great improvement from the fourth book. It did start out with the trope of love interest separated, which I don't enjoy, but that ended pretty quickly. It didn't last too long, and I ended up flying through the last half of this book. Apparently, like I said, I don't remember. It was so long ago. The sixth book in the Shattered Kingdom series is called Dark Refuge. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. It was a good book, good pacing. Do I remember anything more? Absolutely not. And the seventh and final book in the Shattered Kingdom is called Reborn Throne. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. And I do remember about this book that not everyone got a happy ending. I won't go into any like more detail and spoil anything, but I always I kind of enjoy happy endings for everyone, but it's not realistic most of the time. So it is a little bit refreshing that not everything worked out perfectly in everybody's favor. So that was a little bit like refreshing and realistic. Okay, guys, the next 3 books I think are easily becoming one of my new favorite series. And that is the Lady of Darkness series by Melissa K. Rorich. I listened to these on Audible, but I loved them so much that I bought the whole series. So you'll see the other 2 here, and then I have the novella, and then I have another book in her series that I will talk about in my February wrap-up. Okay, let's start with the first book, Lady of Darkness. 5 stars. Beautiful. Masterpiece. I loved it. If you are a fan of Sarah J. Maas and Jennifer L. Armentrout, you will love this series. It is, I would say I hate comparing books, but if you love Throne of Glass, you will love this series. It's different. It's very different. It's not like the same as Throne of Glass, but there are assassins and there are fae, and it is amazing, and I love it so much. Soren is amazing. He's beautiful. I love him. So yes, I gave this 5 stars. The second book is Lady of Shadows. I also gave this 5 stars. I think my one critique about this book is that there are a lot of secrets between the love interests, which I don't like. So like kind of like that trope of bad communication, and I don't like it. Just don't promise someone that you're telling them everything and then not tell them everything. I don't like secrets, but other than that, I love this book. What I love about this series is each book, the author adds either 1 or 2 point of views, and it kind of eases into it, so you get to know these characters, and then it adds their point of view, so you kind of already know a little bit about them, but now you can see their perspective. Although there was one perspective that I did not care for, and so every time I went back to them, it was just like, ugh. Can we get back to Scarlet, please? Scarlet and Soren are my favorite. Okay, yeah, that's it. And then the third book is Lady of Ashes. I gave this book, what do you know, 5 stars. It ended on a huge cliffhanger. At this point in current time, I have read the 4th book as well, so I know what happens. But really, guys, you need to read this. It's so good. The next book I read on my Kindle, and that is Gold by Raven Kennedy. This is the 5th book in the Plated Prisoner series. I gave this book 2 stars. I'm sorry, I did. It was so long. Very, very long. So long, in fact, that it was supposed to be longer, but the author ended up cutting the book in half. So it was supposed to be the last book, but it was too long. So she cut it in half, so the 6th book isn't coming out until I think August of this year. Once again, you have the trope of main characters being separated, and I really dislike that. I heavily dislike that. I just want them to be together and happy. So I realized when I was reading this book that in all the other books, I heavily skipped over one of the characters' POVs. Not the main characters, one of a side character. And I actually read it this time, but I realized why I always used to skip it over is because I don't care about that character in the slightest. But I did read it, and all I have to say is Queenie, not a cute nickname. Not a nickname that I think is hot in any way. Why would you call someone Queenie? That just sounds condescending, which I guess it was used as condescending at first, but then it was supposed to be like the love interest, that was their nickname for this person. Queenie. No. I don't like it. No. Also, these characters, there was a battle going on. What are they doing? They decide to have sex right in the middle of this battle. There are things happening that are way more important. I don't get it. The next book that I finally completed was Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I've been reading this for maybe 2 or 3 months now. I think it was just slowing me down because it is middle grade. The last time I read this book, I was in middle school, so I was a little bit more age appropriate, which, I mean, any age can read this, but I think I am currently in this romantasy, like, adult trend, and so I wasn't used to the middle grade writing style. But I did finish it, and I originally gave this book 5 stars when I read it in middle school. I feel like the rating is lower now, but I don't think it's fair to change it because I am not the target audience. When I was the target audience of this book, I gave it 5 stars. Now I'd probably give it 3.5 to 4, but that would be sucky of me. Because obviously when I was a child, I loved this, so I don't want to change it. So there you have it. The next book that I have was one of the books on my TBR jar that I picked for this month, and that was The Raven and the Dove by Caitlin Davis. I gave this book 4 stars. It was a very quick and easy read. The world was pretty easy to understand. I enjoyed the characters. I wasn't super attached to the characters. I don't know why. I want a little bit more background on them, more kind of info on their personalities. I felt like they were a little bit surface level in this book, but I'm hoping in the next one we get to know a little bit more about them. The other TBR jar book that I picked, or the second one, I picked 3 in total, was A Storm of Silver and Ash by Marion Blackwood. I ended up DNFing this very quickly. I could not get past how the main character acted. There's like snarky, like, you know, thrown a glass, Selena, snarky, witty. This girl was just awful, and I didn't like her, and I didn't want to continue reading in her point of view. The writing style was also very like simple, and it stuck out to me. Normally I am not someone that notices writing style unless it is like overly poetic or like sticking out, like it's just a little bit jagged and rough and doesn't flow nicely. So I just couldn't get past those few things, so I decided not to continue on, because I think this book has this series has like maybe 7 or so books in it, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. My last TBR jar book was A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas. It was actually a nice little coincidence that I picked this book right before Sarah J Maas's new book came out, House of Flame and Shadows. I gave this book 4 stars. It's a filler. It's like a novella book, so not a lot happens. It's just like a good bridge between A Court of Wings and Ruin and A Court of Silver Flames. So yeah, just fluffy, happy feelings all around. And the last book that I ended up adding on to my TBR was The Return by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is a sequel series to, I don't know what the series is called, but it's the, I think it's the Half-Blood series. I have it, you can't see it, it's on my top shelf. But this is a new adult, so that series is young adult, this is new adult, so there's a lot more spicy scenes in it. I gave this book 4 stars. I love the world that this is set in. However, so this book is based around Seth, who was in that previous series, who's actually like for a long time the bad guy in that series. And I don't know, Seth is a lot. He can really be a lot and very abrasive. I don't necessarily love him that much as a person. But I really love Josie. She's really sweet. And so I get 4 stars. It was fun. This is a reread for me. I've already read this book. And I think I listened to it on Audible last time, but I wanted to get it so I could tab it. But 4 stars. It was fun. I'm gonna continue on, obviously. So those were all 11 books that I read in the month of January. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what you read in January. What was your favorite book that you read? Subscribe if you want to see more content, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys. Comment down below. Why do I always say comment? Comment. By Alangit to what I read. Actually, no. No.